I'm Joshua,
I'm Jeremy.
and welcome to the Brothers Judah. What do you want to talk about today?
All right, well, let's see. Man, there's a lot to talk about in the world.
I know.
The most present thing right now is the election.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we want to get into that yet. I feel like we
Well,
should.
there are issues around it that are concerning to me that I want to discuss. This is being recorded after the election, but before the results have been decided.
Yes.
And we don't have to talk about the election specifically.
Well, if it's a topic that you want to talk about, then
Mhm.
I can talk about it because it's relevant to today. If it's
Yeah.
not, then there are many other topics that I'm sure we can talk about.
Yeah. I mean, the election is on my mind
All
and
right.
concerning to me.
Let's do it.
So, I mean, obviously, I think we should be neutral and not, talk from one political side or the other. But I'm concerned about the media, like whether or not the media is biased. I think a lot of people might have that concern, and in either direction.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned about the fact that like people have such different views of like reality, like what like large portions of the country. We're not talking about like small sects. Like we're talking about large portions of the country see the world very differently, and I don't know. It's just like
That's definitely a good topic. So let's dive in. So, well, you had said media biased.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's so biased, it's almost weird, like dystopia. It's almost like, how are we accepting this?
That's what I wanted to talk about. Like, are we living in a dystopia?
Like, like it's like if we're sitting here and then somebody in like I don't know, a bird costume comes in and jumps around and walks out.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so weird for a normal expectation of what reality should be right now.
Yeah.
It's jarring to the world. So I feel like it's almost that bad. And for me, that kind of goes back to what I've mentioned in the past about truth. And I feel like when they put that content forward, their intent behind their actions, it's not to seek truth. It's to persuade in some way, or it's or to get views, because we live in a largely advertising society.
Yeah.
So to get views and influence them, and that manipulates the content, and it manipulates what the actual object is. The transfer, it manipulates it from them to us, and it has devastating effects.
Like a lot of the news headlines and news pieces, like kind of read like opinion pieces. Like I have to check to see if it says opinion, because I'm like, it's really concerning. And I guess the point of this show is to try to talk about solutions and how to make society better. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that everyone would agree that the media is biased.
Well, I guess why don't we start with whether or not the media actually is biased, and then we can talk about the causes as to why we think it's biased, and then maybe the solutions.
Okay.
So to start with whether or not it's biased, I mean, it's easy for us to just say, yes, I feel it's biased, because all of our previous experiences has brought it to us at a conclusion. But if we were to try to analyze it aside from our preconceived feelings, let's think about it. So to properly do research, I would imagine we'd have to pick out the top X number of media outlets and actually watch them all and do comparisons and do that. We haven't done that research, but through living, we've experienced what's out there. We've talked to people, we've seen clips of this, we've seen that. When we're browsing or somewhere, we're presented with, we obviously have seen clips from CNN. We've obviously seen clips from ABC, from Fox, from MSNBC. Like, we've seen clips from the mainstream, and I'm not just single picking those. There are many others that we've seen.
Like, let's just bring up an example. So right now, the election was 2 days ago.
Okay.
So one side, and I'm not saying which side of the aisle I'm on, but one side is saying, count the votes and the votes are valid, and, is excited about a potential win. And then the other side is saying that some of the votes are not valid and there's been some foul play, And so regardless of how someone feels about what's, the media will largely, I think, the mainstream media will largely say, they'll fact check and they'll say this is the way it is. But then on any topic, you'll find a lot of information that is contrary to that. And there's large portions of the population that don't view that reality that way. So just the fact that there's such cognitive dissonance in the media, like whether or not it's bias, there's contradictory information out there.
There's big contradictory information. And what I've noticed is I don't know, with the chicken and the egg, which caused what, or if they grew together. But there's the media, that's how it is, but also the people. So I'll be reading comments, either on news articles or threads or some video comments or whatever it is. And the comments are just complete opposite. And at times I'll read comments where the first half, like they're saying a problem or they're saying something, and I don't know if it could fit either side completely, and then they say their point. So it's almost like I'm telling the truth, you're lying, and then you say I'm telling the truth, you're lying.
Yeah, like with the political cloud, like one person one group of people think the other person getting elected would be the apocalypse.
Yes.
So, like I remember in 2016, people saying like this is the end of the world if this candidate gets elected, and then now there are people who are saying the other way as well. Like it's the end of the world if this other candidate gets elected. Like to exaggerate, but
I completely see what you're saying.
They literally think the same exact thing, but about the opposite side. It's really confusing.
So I know, and I don't want to jump to conspiracy theories or falsely accuse, but it almost feels like it's like a puppet show for us. It almost feels like it's just
it's like something to be upset and distracted about.
Yeah. Like, do you know how when they're kids, some people try to distract do you know how an adult can easily control and manipulate a child? So in certain ways, and I mean, that sounds very bad. I don't mean that. What I mean is, they naturally do it to get them to brush their teeth or something.
Yeah.
It sounds bad.
Try to condition their behavior.
Try to condition their behavior, but not even that. What I'm trying to say is, the adult understands everything around them in the scenario. I understand that. I understand this. I understand that. I understand. And the kid growing up doesn't understand it yet.
Yeah.
So the more information you know, and the more you can kind of easily.
You have a bird's eye view.
Yeah, it's almost like with a cat or something. If it starts biting me or something, I'll like distract it. I'll crinkle a paper over here and it looks. It's like I'm manipulating, controlling. It looks away, then I can get my hand away, or I might know how to react if I go dead or push into it, or like there's certain ways to react. I almost feel like there's this massive, just like, oh, here's that, almost like sporting events or like I remember the last election. I watched, and I don't remember what channel it was, but I watched the presidential debates, and the way it was filmed, the way it was presented with the music, it went dun dun dun, and lights turned in and flashed down, and then the camera zoomed in, and then there's a narrator with like drama, like last time, this person said this, but this person said that. What's going to happen next tonight? Well, and it was like a sporting event, or like not to specifically pinpoint a certain company, but like watching like American Idol or like a reality TV show or some sort of, and I'm watching, I'm like, what I want is something boring. Like I want the two candidates to sit down with pen and paper and discuss topics, long form, no like gotcha questions, no little sound bites, no. I want them to discuss a topic and bring up a concern, answer it, bring up that concern, answer it, and have a dialogue.
Yeah, but then people wouldn't have the attention span to watch it.
So maybe that's the problem. So maybe that's part of the problem. Yeah,
we could talk about that in another episode. But I mean, I think there's definitely something amiss, something awry. We can argue the extent to which it's intentional, or just the extent to which it's just people exerting their own influence, like millions and millions of people trying to exert their own will, and it's just chaos. Like that's another argument, but I think there's definitely a problem when, like, I have a really good friend from childhood that I grew up with, who's very similar in background to me, similar religion, similar upbringing, like even similar in terms of sides of, like I thought sides of the political aisle in terms of values and things like that. And we literally see two completely different realities right now. Completely different.
Yeah.
Like he's like saying, you know, we talk about God's will, like, well, you know, I trust God's will for the outcome. And he's saying, well, what about the will of millions, free will of millions of people? And I'm thinking, what about the free wills of millions of people? But we're thinking about the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah. Because we see two different,
Yeah.
That's the weirdest part for me. It's like,
and it's not the emotion too. I remember seeing clips of people the last cycle when one of them got elected, someone dropping on their knees, screaming like no, like literally in the emotion. It wasn't like they literally felt like the world was ending and like crushing, and like you just watched them like kill babies or something horrible. Like that feeling that she had. And then you have other people who are like elated and oh, thank you, and like you have those two. And now, but here's the question: both of them, if like I bet they both want the same thing. What do you want your children to feel safe? Yes. Do you want your children to feel loved? Yes. Do you want them to be good people? Yes. Like if you sat down and you just talked about that, the two sides, I bet they would agree on almost everything. You know what people want. You know,
we want people to be healthy and happy, have what they need, basic needs met. We want, most good people want the same thing.
So I use the gun control argument to show the contrasting sides. So one side wants the children at schools and anywhere, they want their children safe. So they want to ban guns and have nobody to have guns to be safe. The other side wants their children safe. So they want to have a gun to be able to protect themselves from somebody that has a gun.
I feel like just mentioning that gets people angry. Just mentioning that topic, two sides, because in people's minds there aren't two sides. There's one side. So when you present it as this is a topic, these are the two sides, people get mad.
That is really weird because we both want our children to be safe. It's almost like
I already can tell. I can feel people getting mad watching this because just presenting it that way gets people mad because there's only one reality.
I didn't. Yeah, you're right because I didn't sway either way. I didn't show bias in any direction.
But just by presenting it as a choice
options.
makes people
you're
mad.
right.
So, and that's you could pick any topic, charged topic like that.
That's true.
So this is, I guess, the issue. And what is the solution? I mean, I think for me personally, taking personal responsibility is my go-to solution because I can't solve the world's problems and I can't even exert a control over this election or large political problems. So my go-to solution is like, what can I do personally in interacting with the people I come into contact with, and how can I have a positive influence on them? And then, trying to be loving. And a lot of the upset about these large issues is just having a negative effect in the world. So that's my personal solution. I don't know in terms of...
Yeah. I feel like really, like all we can control is ourselves.
Yeah.
Like I can't control you. I can't control anything. Like I might be able to control myself to then control this and pick it up and put it down. But I'm still just controlling myself.
Yeah.
So starting at the center and working outward, I think it's a great personal responsibility. How am I conducting myself? And I mean, there's someone that says, step one, just clean your room. And I know it sounds weird, but anytime I do that, it starts the ball rolling in a snowball effect. So I start with my room and I just clean it out, and my closet piles up, and my nightstand, and I just clean, and I empty drawers and I put stuff away, and it gets me going. And then as I'm handling things and that gets bigger and bigger, I feel like it then projects outward to the rest of my life. It then goes to the house, and then when I then interact with people, this positive snowball that's growing, passerbys then are encompassed with it, and I kind of give off some positivity. And I mean, the problem I feel is people that seem so like we want a quick fix. We want like pop a pill and it's done, or we want big. We want to do something grand. We want to save 1,000
Yeah.
poor people in this,
Yeah.
just us cleaning our room, starting small, taking personal responsibility. It seems small.
It's humbling.
It is very humbling.
And part of, for me, like that, being in that fight, that ego of the fight of I'm right, you're wrong, this is the way things should be.
Yeah.
Eventually you get beat up to the point where you kind of bow out of the fight.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like, you drop into that humble, simple life, and that's when you really can work on relationships and loving and just being. And that's yeah.
What's weird is I feel like that is the solution. Like it's almost because we then are in a stronger position to affect the, say, 10 people that we come in contact with at that time. Yeah. And those 10 people, each of them, if we give off positivity and raise them up, it exponentially grows. They then affect 10 people, and it easily becomes 100, and before we know it, we are making that grand change.
Yeah.
So
I heard an analogy once when a wave's coming at you in the ocean. I remember I was a kid once, and I was looking back at shore. I was talking to someone, and this huge wave hit me in the back and knocked me down under the water. And I came up, and people were laughing. But what's the solution when the wave's coming at you? You bow out. You dive under it.
Yeah.
And it's like the fight is like it's kind of like that. And it's just like if we bow out, it's almost like we're set free. Like I used to be so angry at the society.
I can attest to that.
I know. I apologize.
Thank you. I accept.
But now, like, I just have peace, and I feel free. And yeah, there's a lot of junk going on in the world, but I can, in little ways, I can be a good person.
Well, I can attest to that. I've definitely noticed the change. I've definitely noticed the change. So, looks like the timer is about to go. So we just cut it now.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, I guess we just wrap it up. Yeah.
So
actually, we didn't talk about we did talk about the solution. I don't know if
we did. We talked about the problem, whether there's a problem, and the possible solution.
I know. I just feel like there's so much more to talk about.
We'll save it for the next show.
Oh, all right.
All right. See you guys later.